The road to Los Angeles 2028 begins in Indianapolis from Carroll Stadium on the campus of IU Indianapolis. Welcome to the USA Lacrosse Experience. Glenn Clark alongside Cornell and Boston Cannons legend Mitch Belisle as we get ready for the first of 8 games today. Puerto Rico taking on Great Britain. Mitch, we are 4 years away from the first ever Olympic lacrosse sixes experience. For a lot of these players that we're going to see during the course of the day, this will be their first high-level sixes competition. For every one of them, the dream of representing their country and playing in Los Angeles is very real, and this is the path to getting there.
Yeah, to think that some of these players could potentially be suiting up for their countries in LA 4 years from now, and this is the starting point. So exciting, and so it'll be so interesting to see the development between now and then, as we're going to see really a proving ground out here today of what works, what doesn't work, what do we need on our rosters. We've talked to a lot of the coaches, and they said we need to figure out what kind of player is best for sixes. Is it that two-way midfielder? Is it a scorer? Is it a defender who can sub on and off? So we're going to see a lot of guessing and testing and experimentation out here over the course of these 12 games.
It really feels like we're in a bit of a lacrosse laboratory, if you will. As again, there have been players that have played. There have been high-level sixes competitions so far. Of course, the PLL hosts the championship series every year, and the World Games in Birmingham in 2022 provided that opportunity for a lot of these players to get a taste of it, but not all of them, and certainly not all of the coaches. And so they've got to figure out who's going to be a part of the pipeline, and this is their first opportunity to do that. We got a lot of lacrosse ahead of us over the course of the next 2 days. Mentioned 8 games today, 4 more tomorrow. The 4 countries that we have here, the first 2 that we'll see today, Puerto Rico and Great Britain, and then later on we'll see the United States and Colombia. Men's and women's teams from those countries will be playing throughout the course of the day. So both teams will play twice today, once here in the morning or early afternoon, and then again later on during the day, and then again tomorrow evening. So a busy day of lacrosse, a busy weekend of lacrosse. Let's pause now for the playing of the national anthems. Boys from Great Britain fired up to represent their country as we get ready for the first of 8 games today, day 1 of the USA Lacrosse Experience. Great Britain in the white shirts, and it'll be Puerto Rico in the blue shirts here in this first matchup. Mitch, there are certainly still many lacrosse fans that are not completely familiar with the sixes format. They understand that there are 6 players on the field, but They don't understand exactly what makes it different. You want to give us a quick rundown of what fans should expect if they're tuning in for the first time to watch Sixes today?
Absolutely. Think of fast basketball / box lacrosse style, up and down, back and forth. Only face-offs take place at the beginning of the quarters. The goalie, after a goal, will pick it up out of his goal. He has 5 seconds to get the ball, or a player can get it out of the crease, and then they got to get it out of their crease in 5 seconds, and the shot clock is on once possession is gained. So a 30-second shot clock on both sides. There's no over and back, just like basketball. It's high pace, it's nonstop action, and there's no time for celebrating goals. As soon as that goal is scored, you got to get back and play defense, much like basketball. So look for, we talked about the laboratory here, look for some full court presses, look for a little bit of zone on defense, and look for just up and down action continually. As soon as that shot is taken, you're going to have defensive players streaking towards the offensive end looking for the quick strike on offense.
And obviously what we're seeing right now between Daniel Mercado and Tomas Rosser is not something we will see a lot. That's a face-off, not a big part of Sixes lacrosse. As we are underway, first game of the day, and the opportunity was there for Puerto Rico to come up with it. Not able to. The battle for the ball continues, and it will go back to Puerto Rico to start things off.
The other big difference is the body checking. So you're not allowed to throw the body in Sixes. It's more of a fast-paced game, and there we have the first goal.
Didn't take long as David Emili gets Puerto Rico on the board just seconds into this contest. And that's what we're talking about, obviously. Goal quickly out and quickly going the other way for Great Britain. Their head coach, Tom Wenham, as this British lacrosse team not able to convert on their first opportunity. And it gives us the first chance to talk about Puerto Rico's goalie, Will Mark. Very impressive player, obviously. 4-time All-American. And boy, Puerto Rico wasting no time.
Yeah, Will Mark, I got a chance to coach that young man when he was very young, and it was pretty exciting to see how he's progressed. He has seen a lot of shots in his career. He was the all-time saves leader at Long Island University, and then played his graduate year at Syracuse. So he is a spectacular player who's seen a lot of rubber, kind of custom built or trained for this, with all those shots that he saw over the course of his years at LIU.
Donovan Lacey, who played 1 year at Maryland after his career at Sacred Heart, scores the second goal. Then Ben Page-Laycock denied by Will Mark.
And here's the press by England. You can see they're just matched up on everyone. Will Mark cannot cross the midline as that finally finds an open player who's denied by William Baxter there.
Of course, off the save, a missed shot does not retain the ball. There is no race to the end line, but off a save out of bounds, it does stay with Puerto Rico. Already in front 2-0. Lacey flips it back to the opposite side. Dodging and shooting hard and scoring. Alex Rodriguez makes it 3-0 Puerto Rico. Rodriguez, who played at VMI, dealt with some injury issues during his collegiate career, on the board for the first time today. And we're going the other way. All Puerto Rico in the early going. Transition cashed in. An onslaught right now for Team Puerto Rico. 4-0 after Thomas O'Connell, the former Maryland Terrapin, makes it 4-0. Great Britain trying to figure out a way to get on the board. Of course, not easy when you're going up against Will Mark. The other thing that's different than perhaps when you see the PLL Championship Series, no 2-point arc.
That really allows defenses to pack in a little bit. And when you have a goalie like Will Mark, as we hear the shot clock, 30-second shot clock, that's quick. So Great Britain there, they got a good possession, but just came up empty as they weren't able to find any open cutters because Puerto Rico really packed it in and almost dared Great Britain to take that outside shot. And
Daniel Mercado with a great slide as well to cut it off. Great Britain gets it back, trailing 4-0, trying to find their way into this first quarter. Choosing not to take that shot, Kirkland continues the offense. Good movement in front, but again, nothing clean for Tommy Kirkland.
Talking to the British lacrosse coaches, they said they don't even say the word shooting anymore. They call it finishing.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you shoot, there's a chance you miss. If you finish, you put the ball in the back of the net. I would have liked to see, I think it was Kirkland coming down that wing. I would have liked to see him try to bounce that one in there. They had a good opportunity. I know it was early in the shot clock, but they need to get something on the board here after 4 empty possessions.
Laureano tried to dump it inside to Ramirez. Ramirez not able to hang on to it, and then you got to sort of make the decision there, as you don't want to leave your team hanging the other way. So he just lets the ball go and gets back defensively to settle things up. Tim Collins keeps it moving from the near side. Now to the opposite side, racing down, shooting wide. It was Ryan Hoons.
Another rule difference, it's not the closest to the ball when it goes out of bounds. In sixes, it is much like basketball, the last to touch it. So if you shoot it, it goes out of bounds, that's going to come back. And they're actually playing with an amendment to the sixes rule book. If it hits the post and goes out of bounds, the shooting team does keep possession. That's new, and that's a big change, and I think an important one that rewards, that's much more like the box.
Sean Laureano dodges free, but is denied by Baxter, so Willie Baxter finally feeling his way into this game. And transition opportunity the other way. Couple of fakes, and finally.
Oh my goodness.
That's unreal.
That's
unreal.
Back-to-back doorstop saves. My goodness, Will Mark. That was, Ryan Hoons picked that ball up, no one around him. I thought for sure, okay, here they go. They're going to get on the board, but Will Mark says nay.
What a difference it makes for this Puerto Rico program to have a goalie of Will Mark's caliber as Baxter picks up the loose ball.
Here's a look at it. Good shot, good save. Kind of doesn't know where the rebound is. Picks it up. I'm sorry, that was Ben Page Laycock who had the opportunity. I saw him play, and as they, Great Britain.
Finally. 4-1 now. Just over 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter.
Great Britain goal scored by number 16.
And of course, Daniel Jones, who played for Great Britain at the 2023 World Championships. It was a difficult tournament for Great Britain. Didn't win a game in group play. They're really encouraged about their path for sixes, though, Mitch, because the 2022 World Games, they made it to the semifinals and ultimately battled Japan all the way to a 1-goal game in the bronze medal matchup. Really encouraging result for the sixes program as they move towards the Olympics.
Yeah, an overtime thriller. Lyndon Bunio had 8 goals and 9 shots in that game.
It's unreal. That sounds like Mitch Belisle numbers.
I don't know about that. Maybe blocked 8 shots with my body.
Right. Balker sell off the post.
William Baxter doing his best Will Mark impression there with back-to-back saves.
Yeah, maybe picking up early on that's what it's going to take, given how talented this Puerto Rico team is, loaded with high-level Division I collegiate players. Going to have to up your game in order to shut down this group. Of course, he's competing with Hal Jobang, the two, and there's a third goalie in the program. Loose ball picked up by Laureano, tried to stuff it home, didn't have the angle.
And that looked like Puerto Rico dropped into kind of like England had dropped into kind of like a bit of a man zone, but like really packing it in there. They're getting a little bit of confidence that William Baxter's able to make those outside saves.
William Shirt up top, gives it to Bickerton. Back to the near side, a couple of fakes, dodging right Rosser. Oh, getting free, shooting and scoring Alex Russell.
That's a great top step there by Russell. He catches that, jabs, comes over the top.
Great Britain goal scored by number 5, Alex
Makes it
Russell.
4-2, just a couple of seconds remaining in the quarter. Puerto Rico trying to get a shot off before the quarter's over, fed in front. Oh, how well was that executed? Owen Fasulka just before the horn, his first of the game, and Puerto Rico stretches the lead back out to 5-2 after 1. Hot start for Puerto Rico in this first game of the USA Lacrosse experience.
Sometimes it's not the moment. It's the moment before the moment. The moment you make a choice. The moment you take control. The moment only you can own. Gainbridge lets you invest on your terms. So you're not only in charge of this moment, but all the moments to come. Start investing now at Gainbridge.io.
Into the first quarter
where there's a Will, there's 4 saves, as both Will Mark and Willie Baxter made 4 saves in the first quarter. The difference, Puerto Rico got more opportunities, cashed them in. They lead 5-2 after 1. Glenn Clark, Mitch Bilal with you from Indianapolis as the team switch sides here for quarter number 2. What impressed you most about Puerto Rico offensively in that first quarter, Mitch?
I think their balance. They went on that 4-goal run to open things up, and they really were moving the ball well. They continued to maintain their shape. It looked to me like Great Britain was having a hard time finding their spacing. When they did, they were able to find a couple good looks with a nice top step there by Alex Russell. But right now it's been Puerto Rico who just looks a little bit more organized on offense.
Rosser and Daniel Mercado again, and it's Daniel Mercado who comes away with it himself. Now he wants to let it fly. That one denied by Baxter.
Those are the types of situations where players need to, as soon as that shot happens, if you're on the defensive end, you got to take off, because that could be transition going the other way.
Great Britain finally got things going a bit offensively as the quarter went on, trying to carry that over here into quarter number 2. Pomfret has to regroup, that clock running, and looks like a crease.
They're going to say Alex Russell was in the crease there, but I think Will Mark got a piece of that with the top of his stick. That was an incredible save as he had fallen to the turf.
Puerto Rico going the other way, as we mentioned, loaded with talent, loaded with legitimate D1 players, and a lot of encouraging feelings about this Puerto Rico team and what they can build moving towards the inaugural World Sixes Championship. Is from well outside. Kevin Lewis not able to get that to go. Baxter gives chase off the save, but it'll stay with Puerto Rico.
Yeah, because that hit the goalie, then went out of bounds, they're going to get a fresh shot clock and they get the ball back.
Again from outside, that one buried. Brandon Aviles. Talk about D1 talent.
Puerto Rico goal scored by number 43.
Played 1 year at Johns Hopkins, 4 at Syracuse. Aviles with his first of the day. 6 goals from 6 different goal scorers for Puerto Rico.
And really the first outside shot we've seen go in.
That one hammered off the pipe. Mark able to find it. Daniel Jones denied.
Glenn, as quick as these games go, oh,
Speaking of quick. Speaking of quick. How do you like that? And keep that going. That's now 7 goals from 7 different goal scorers. Mercado, Christian Mercado with his first of the day. Very balanced effort from Puerto Rico. And Mark denying Mills Doig inside, getting back into the picture, but not quite. With Puerto Rico, these guys were up and at 'em today. Ready to go. In front 7-2. That one hammered. Baxter not able to come up with it, but it goes out of bounds. And Great Britain gets another opportunity. Had the opportunity to chat with Puerto Rico head coach Alec Jernstead going into this tournament. And you could sense the excitement that he had about this program. As hitting the turf right in front of us was Alex Russell. He's back up and back into the play.
Yeah, we're going to get our first man-up situation here as we see the referee with the raised arm, slow whistle.
Oh, perfect feed, and Russell turns around and drops it in.
I stand corrected. We will not see
Yes,
that penalty.
wave it off.
Because it's a minor infraction, you can get a 30-second, a 1 minute, or an expulsion penalty. That would have been a 30-second, I believe, push, or possibly a cross-check, but that was going to be wiped out because of the goal scored.
Russell's second of the day makes it 7-3. First multi-goal scorer for either team today. Alex Jernstedt, the head coach at Grove City in Pennsylvania, entering his 8th season, and he's turned them into a bit of a power at the D3 level. Faking the shot from outside Mealy. Pulls the trigger on the turf and not held on to as Mealy tried to go back and get it himself. It's out of bounds and back to Great Britain. I asked him
Baxter was fired up there.
Yeah, he
made
was.
A nice play, got a little check, knocked that ball out. I don't know if he was getting fired up with his family in the stands or giving it to the Puerto Rico attackman there, but.
And we're going to get a timeout taken by Great Britain ahead of this possession. As I mentioned, it's talking to Alex Jernstedt. I'm always interested in how a coach gets connected with a program like Puerto Rico. And he kind of laughed and said when he was working for John Danowski at Duke, he saw Coach Danowski working with Team USA and just got interested in the idea of coaching international lacrosse. So a friend of his sent along just a job listing for an interim coach of the Puerto Rico program, and he said, oh, I'm interested in that. Tried to get it. Got denied. Didn't get the job. But the job became available again. He was still interested. And one of the things he talked about is how much he appreciates the way these players care so deeply about their heritage, that it really is a big deal for them. They're not necessarily natives of Puerto Rico, but there are a lot of them players with direct family members that are Puerto Rican, and how much they care about representing that heritage. It's something that you can really feel from this team that there's a great passion for.
Yeah, it seems like a tight-knit crew, and they really have that Puerto Rican, culture inside of them, and you can see in the way they come together. I was lucky enough to get to call the World Lacrosse Box Championships, and same thing, you had that very tight-knit crew and so much pride there, and you can see it on the way they play.
Tough tournament for Puerto Rico at the Box Championships, finishing 25th place in that event in Utica just a couple of weeks ago, flying into the picture, knocking that free and wasting a few more seconds off the shot clock, dodging in front. Oh, Mark with an amazing save.
Lyndon Bunio, 8 goals on 9 shots in the World Games.
He gets it back, not going to be denied this time.
1 for 2 today on that possession alone as he makes up for lost time, or I should say makes up for a Wilmark save.
The London native, Lyndon Bunio, all-time leading box scorer in England history. Bunio cuts it to 7-4. So Great Britain hanging around, not letting Puerto Rico completely pull away in quarter number 2. Good movement, trying to get in front, looking to go behind the back, but crease first is the call. Crease before Brandon Aviles could go around the world there.
Glenn, we got an opportunity to talk with the officials a little bit this morning before, actually breakfast, lovely breakfast, listen to them talk about the rules. I was curious how much physicality they'd allow to play, and so far we've seen a pretty clean game. You can't throw the big body check. Any check that results on someone going to the ground is pretty much going to get called.
There was a 2-on-1 opportunity. Donovan Lacey decides to pull the trigger himself. He's the first multi-goal scorer for Puerto Rico today. And the other way, nope. Going back the other way, 8-4, Puerto Rico in front. Just over 2 minutes remaining in this second quarter. And again, if you're new to sixes, that's another thing you're going to get used to. Is you're going to feel like you're just getting into the quarter, and all of a sudden you're going to look up and say, wait, there's 2 minutes left? How?
And there was an infraction there. I didn't quite catch it, but I'm wondering if he went back into the crease. You're not allowed to leave the crease, get possession of the ball, and then step back in the crease, much like anyone who's watched box lacrosse. It's similar to that. So I'm thinking maybe that was the case, as the hidden ball trick worked beautifully. Wilmark still didn't know where it was, but you see Ryan Hunes holding his head because he had a wide open net and he just missed the gauge.
And just tried to, it seemed like he took something off of that again because he was trying to sell the hidden ball trick. Didn't really sting it, just kind of skipped it wide. Shot won't go the other way, but backup is there before it would go out.
Glenn, it's interesting. Backup is there. You don't need to back up the shots, right, because it's not close to the end line. But having a player back there, you can maybe catch a missed shot like we just saw happen, which is a unique perspective. But how often are you catching an outside shot? Probably not as
correct.
often.
With all that pace on that ball in such little space,
Right. But if you're finishing in tight and you miss and you can stop it from going out of bounds, it might be smart to have that backstop position there. We'll see if many teams utilize the X position.
Under a minute remaining in this second quarter. Daniel Jones fakes, gives. Oh, tomahawked by Russell. This half is his recital. He thinks it's very vital to rock a rhyme that's right on time. A hat tricky is his title with his third of the day.
You wearing your Adidas? I appreciate
that. Yeah, right. Who doesn't love a little Run DMC in the morning? For Kevin Lewis, his first of the day, as Puerto Rico extends the lead back to 9-5. And it looks like Great Britain content to hold for the final shot of the first half. Moved up top to Kirkland. Now from the opposite side, fed it into the middle. The first catch wasn't there, but the second opportunity for Russell can't get it to go. And that's how the first half comes to a close. An early onslaught from Puerto Rico has been the difference in this one. They scored the first 4 of the game, and it's that 4-goal advantage that they hold at the break. Second half coming up here at the USA Lacrosse Experience.
When a child picks up a lacrosse stick, they welcome the wonder of something new. They gain a community and the lasting friendships it creates. At USA Lacrosse, we believe the sport is an opportunity for families to create a lasting connection and make memories that last a lifetime. Catch the fun and bring a friend to pick up and play. During National Celebrate Lacrosse Week this November, head to usalacrosse.com/celebrate lacrosse to find a clinic near you.
Every player knows the skills you learn on the field can be the foundation for anything you choose to do in life.
Thank you for connecting me to a greater community.
We're growing beyond goals on the field.
And our futures are united.
So thank you, Lacrosse.
For inspiring me to be me.
We are better,
safer,
and wiser together.
And we're building a stronger future
for everyone.
They could see themselves play, and then we can correct it and then bring those corrections to the field. That's every coach's dream.
Sometimes it's not the moment. It's the moment before the moment. The moment you make a choice. The moment you take control. The moment only you can own. Gainbridge lets you invest on your terms. So you're not only in charge of this moment, but all the moments to come. Start investing now at Gainbridge.io.
Back at Carroll Stadium on the campus of IU Indianapolis for the USA Lacrosse Experience. Puerto Rico leading Great Britain 9-5 at the half. We want to thank some partners that have helped make the USA Lacrosse Experience possible. Great reception here in Indianapolis, and we are greatly appreciative of those partners like BB Bop, as well as Condado Tacos Tequila and Margaritas, Taylor's Bakery, and Penn Station East Coast subs. Thank you for your support of the USA Lacrosse experience. Glenn Clark alongside Mitch Belisle, first of 4 games this morning. And we'll have 4 more later this afternoon and into the evening, 4 more tomorrow. Mitch, what stood out to you most during the course of that first half?
They talk about lacrosse as a game of runs. I thought that the runs were the key for Puerto Rico. They came out firing. They had 4-goal run. Great Britain was able to answer back with 2, but then Puerto Rico with another 3-goal run. After that, it was a back and forth trading blow for blow, but those stretches where you go for 3, 4, 5, I think those are going to be the difference makers in games. We saw a little bit in the World Games, Team USA versus Canada. Canada, it was back and forth, but then Canada just went on 4 or 5 long, extended runs where the United States could never get a stop or put a goal on their own goal, and that was really the difference maker. And it's funny, if you can't get those into just even 1 or 2 to chip away, it just starts getting out of hand fast, and then you start playing catch up, and that becomes troubling.
Alex Russell with 3 goals for Great Britain in the first half. For Puerto Rico, incredible balance. 9 goals from 8 different goal scorers. The only multi-goal scorer being Donovan Lacey with 2. Will Mark, 10 saves in the first half for Puerto Rico. William Baxter had 8 saves for Great Britain as well in half number 1. Will be interesting to see. We know Will Mark is the goalie for Puerto Rico, but Great Britain, they've got a bit of a goalie competition. We're expecting to see Hal Jobang this weekend. Also, they have a 3rd goalie that's part of the program that is not here with the team, as Jack Allen. Let me get that correct. Jack
Russell,
Allen.
I think you're thinking of that.
Not a terrier, I don't believe, yes.
And we are going to see Hal right now. He just stepped between the pipes, so we'll
there's
see
the
it
answer. We are going to see Hal Jobang right now. Jack Allen not with the team this weekend as he is playing at Ohio State. And they decided they needed him back this weekend for their fall ball practices. Teams switch sides once again here for quarter number 3. Puerto Rico gets it quickly, and boy, howdy, what an effort.
Hal Jobang, welcome to the game.
Yeah.
Guy 1-on-0 with you, just right in the crease, and he makes the save, stands tall.
Daniel Mercado denied after he went right at the cage, coming off that scrum for the opening face-off of the 3rd quarter.
That was the first real pick and roll, I feel like, that almost had success there. I haven't seen as much box-style 2-man games or basketball-style pick and rolling that I thought I would. I think the teams are really using motion right now to try to get an advantage.
Lacey not able to snag it to keep that transition opportunity alive. Puerto Rico does maintain possession. And a bit of a spacing issue there as you saw Aviles cut right in front of Steve Ramirez. I'm not sure who the intended target of that pass was, Mitch.
I think that might have been a steal,
yeah.
A teammate interception there.
Great Britain gets it back, looking for the first goal of the 3rd quarter. I think if we're being fair, we would say results not the most significant part of this weekend. It's the experience. It's a great finish in front from Ben Page Laycock. His first of the game, cuts it to 9-6. But it is still a barometer to see where you are as a program. I think all of the coaches would probably acknowledge, look, it's the experience, it's getting out there, getting the reps. That matters most. But it's not that they don't want to win. It's not that they're purposely trying not to win. They'd like to get that competition and get those feelings for these players.
Well, and this is a process, right? But the process is to become the best lacrosse team in the sixes discipline you can be. And if you're getting better over the course of the weekend, you would hope that is going to result in goals or saves or defensive stops. As
shot clock expires for Puerto Rico. And on the other end, cashed in. Paige Laycock getting involved here in the 3rd quarter.
Great Britain goal scored by number 3.
His second of the quarter. Cuts it to 9-7 from outside. That one doesn't get through. So Ben Page Laycock coming to life, and Great Britain right back into this game.
Yeah, that was a unique. It seemed like the shot clock had expired, but they were able to slide that one in just before. And Ben Page Laycock, I saw a lot of him at that World Box Championships, and he was a big piece of their offense. He was able to score some goals in games where they weren't able to put a lot of points up. That's a tough turnover there for Puerto Rico. They just throw that one away.
A little sloppy here in the third quarter. A team that looks so sharp coming out of this. We see that pass that was kind of cut off, then Laureano just throws that one away for the turnover. So Puerto Rico got to get it back together. Great Britain trying to take advantage.
Alex Russell's been their go-to guy.
He got free, didn't pull the trigger, keeps it moving. And a great cut, but the feed just a little bit too low. Shirt trying to get in front.
And that's another area, Glenn, I feel like stick work is so paramount for this discipline of the game because they're so tight. There's so many quick passes. You look at the Canada's, the United States, and all these players are playing year-round for so many different organizations. I think there's certainly an advantage there because of that crisp stick work.
Oh, fake and bomb. The look off and then the delivery. What a shot.
Goal scored by number 42,
how about that from Jared Fernandez? Fernandez, who played 1 year at Johns Hopkins after 3 years at Syracuse. His first of the day extends the lead back to 3 at 10-7. Love the fake. And a quick response.
There's Lyndon Bunio getting on the stat sheet for Great Britain. The lefty coming over the top. We talked about he is living in London. He's married a British woman and has the British passport, but grew up in Calgary, Alberta, out in the west mountains of Canada.
Second of the game for Bunio. Jobang trying to hold on to it, and I think ultimately an interference.
So we're going to have a loose ball penalty, calling interference going the other way.
Picked up, brought back over. We haven't seen yet today any issues with clearing. Everybody, and part of that too is the defenses don't want to give up transition. It feels like they are not the traditional lacrosse ride, not a significant part of this game.
Right, well, and I'll be curious. We saw one attempted full court press by Great Britain, but Puerto Rico was able to pretty quickly. It's so hard because you have to put so much pressure, and they can set off-ball screens, but it's very much like basketball with the inbounding. The goalie only has 5 seconds, and he can't cross it over the midline. So we have yet to see a successful full court press yet, but I would not be surprised if United States tries to enact one or some of these teams put it in later in the weekend.
Maybe teams a little bit more depth too. A couple of fakes trying to get free. Owen Fasulka. Fasulka just transferred to Mount St. Mary's after having played at CCBC Essex outside of Baltimore. Wow. Wow, that is nifty.
The one-hand option to the switch hand to the around the world.
Second of the day for Christian Mercado. Just finished up his career playing at Wagner. Gets his second of the game, makes it 11-8.
Great Britain goal scored by number 3, Ben.
So Paige Laycock gets his third of the game, and then the response from McFall. And this is what we're talking about, how the game can go very quick one way or the other.
McFall.
Paige Laycock with his third of the quarter. McFall with his first of the game. 12-9, and boy, another quick response. Boy, business is picking up here in the third quarter.
Goal scored by number 4, William
First of the day for Will Prescott.
And the PA announcer getting his money's worth here now.
Right? It feels like a tennis match right now, going back and forth and back and forth. And there's another finish. This one from Sean Laureano, his first of the game.
Puerto Rico goal scored by number 23, Sean Laureano.
13-10. 9 combined goals here in this third quarter, and there's still over a minute to play.
Well, and this is where the value of those goals, right, is almost negated by giving up one immediately, right? It's almost like a back and a forth and a back and a forth. But if you can get 2 or 3 together and get a stop or 2, then they start adding up, and that's when you pad that lead here. But Great Britain has been able to answer a few times. They got that 2-goal run early and have answered every time since and have chipped away at that 4-goal lead and are now only trailing by 3.
And Bunio was free. They just couldn't find him as the shot clock was getting low.
No cards have been drawn. In
that is
sixes,
true.
They pull out the card much like soccer. You've got the green, yellow, and red as
defender hung up, and Balkersell not able to take advantage of it.
but we haven't seen the green, yellow, or red cards come out. I think we had one yellow on the way, but it was wiped out by the goal.
Off the pipe, off the shot attempt from Rodriguez. Puerto Rico not able to get it back. It's picked up by Bunio.
And there we go. There's a hold.
That one you could see from Muncie.
And that's a green card, so that's a 30-second foul. I think they're going to call him for a hold there. So we see the officials discussing.
Yep.
But he was wrapped all over Bunio.
Steve Ramirez, who played 3 years at Albany, represented Puerto Rico at the Box Worlds a couple weeks ago. The 2023 Field World Championships out in San Diego.
Okay,
so penalty on number 19, Steve Ramirez.
It sounds like they gave 2 penalties to Steve Ramirez. I overheard the official saying it's going to be the same player, 2 penalties. So it'll be interesting to see if they stack those or if they make that
with
5-on-3.
With 4 seconds left here, Great Britain's just going to choose to hold, and there will be no face-off to start quarter number 4. As that will be how the quarter comes to a close. They'll have possession, man up to start things off. There was a lot going on in quarter number 3. Could not have been more action. Ultimately, Great Britain only able to chip 1 goal off the lead. They trailed 13-10 after 3 at the USA Lacrosse Experience.
Makes it easy to film and analyze your plays. Whether you're a player, coach, or fan,
When a child picks up a lacrosse stick, they welcome the wonder of something new. They gain a community and the lasting friendships it creates. At USA Lacrosse, we believe the sport is an opportunity for families to create a lasting connection and make memories that last a lifetime. Catch the fun and bring a friend to pick up and play. During National Celebrate Lacrosse Week this November, head to usalacrosse.com/celebrate lacrosse to find a clinic near you.
Start of quarter number 4 here at Carroll Stadium. Puerto Rico in front of Great Britain, 13-10. He is Mitch Belisle, Cornell legend, Boston Cannons legend. I am Glenn Clark, guy who knows Mitch Belisle. Mitch, so much happening in that third quarter. I mean, it was just sort of hard to keep up with it, and I think that's the beauty of the sixes format of this sport.
Well, you know what? You look down one end, you see what happens, you maybe make a note. We have our notebooks here taking some stats, and all of a sudden the ball is in the back. And then on the other side, Ben Page Laycock, number 3, you see that man. He made himself known with a hat trick in that quarter alone. But it's a back and forth affair. It's almost like goals only really matter when you get 2 or 3 in a row, and that is able to pull ahead. But at the same time, you got to score the first one to start that 3-goal run. So it is key, and I think defensively, that's where I would really like to see. It's kind of like basketball when you see teams really buckle down and get a big defensive stop, and you feel that energy. Be curious to see as we get a little full court press here. They're cutting off Will Mark because of that penalty. They're still man up.
Yeah, and just a killer turnover there for Great Britain as they are man up, and they decide to hold to start quarter number 4, looking for a big momentum play to start this fourth, and they just throw it away. So Puerto Rico gets it back.
And they're content to just wait out this shot clock for a bit. Yep. Let the penalty continue to tick away.
Oh, what a find. Spectacular. Lacey to Jared Fernandez. Fernandez's second of the game.
Jared Fernandez.
And it's a 4-goal lead again for Puerto Rico, 14-10.
And that was short-handed as well, and now they'll go back to full strength.
Puerto Rico scored the first 4 of the game, and that has been the difference. 14-10, they're still in front. Underneath, no room there for Russell. He scored 3 in the first half.
Love that defense by David Mealy there, all over the gloves of Alex Russell. With a little lift check, dislodges the ball, but maybe a little too much as they'll get the ball back here.
By the way, what a story Mealy is. Played, of course, collegiately at Stony Brook. Decided that he wanted to give football a shot at the end.
Puerto Rico 30-second penalty.
Played wide
Number 9,
receiver for
Brennan
one
Banks.
season for Stony Brook. The penalty is on Brennan Banks. So another man-up opportunity for Great Britain. 0 for 1 so far today. Good movement inside, but Will Mark again, this time denying Drew Bickerton.
Yeah, Bickerton hanging his head there. He knows he had a golden opportunity with a nice little wheel, but that's the quick strike offense. Great Britain's able to put one in the back of the net on the reset.
Great Britain goal scored by number 13, Drew Bickerton.
First time today, Drew Bickerton on the board.
That's the same Bickerton who was a little disappointed he didn't score,
That's
so
correct.
good to see him get right back in the mix.
Able to get it back. 3-goal game, 6 minutes left. Great Britain's got to start making their move here. Need some stops. Fake inside, and that one denied. Joe Bang still in there.
I love how Joe Banks hugged that pipe and then exploded out to the shooter.
Not going to get that one, however.
One too many, as he made 3 saves in that sequence, but ultimately it was too much.
Puerto Rico goal scored by number 9.
The diving attempt
5,
goes for
Matthew
Lastava.
That's his first of the game, the Bates all-time leading scorer.
He once had a 13-point game in the NCAA tournament against Amherst. From outside, good hammer shot from Paige Laycock.
Was that a one-handed
Great
between the
Britain
legs
goal scored by
pass to
number
feed
3,
that over?
Ben Paige Laycock.
We said it was going to be a lacrosse laboratory today, and we're seeing everything. Paige Laycock's 4th of the second half, 15-12. And we're going to get a timeout here with 4:54 remaining in the 4th. This is typically in a traditional field lacrosse, you're at this point of the game and you say, hey, the great thing about the face-off is that if you score a goal, you can play make it, take it, and you can get it back. Not the case here. You got to get stops. You're going to have to make stops defensively, as we see that again. Boy, that really was impressive now that we look at it one more time. But you're going to have to get stops if you're going to find your way back into a game.
Yeah, I mean, that is where there's really 2 ways to do it, right? It's great defense on your end, or it's that press ride where you're matching up. But that takes a lot of energy. These 8-minute quarters, though, especially this being early, and there's 12 games, each team's playing 3 games, but now is the time to try that press.
Sure.
I think I'd love to see, and England talked about doing this, their relentlessness. You need to have your best athletes out there. You need to match up on every single player, and then you just can't let Will Mark make an easy pass to anyone. And the only thing Puerto Rico can do there is to V-cut hard to get open or set those off-ball screens to try to get open for each other. But I would love to see just all-out full-court press. Worst case, you drop back in if they do get the clear, and then you sub off and you continue to just put that pressure on and make them make mistakes.
Of course, Puerto Rico took the timeout. They still have 1 remaining. They get it back, trying to ice this away. That shot wide, and so we'll go back the way of Great Britain. British lacrosse trying to work their way back in. Have never been able to climb out of the early 4-0 hole. Got it back within 2. That's as close as they've been since that point.
They're just constantly moving on offense. That's certainly part of their trademark and what they want to work on. But sometimes I worry there's just no options. But there's an option right there.
Perfectly right to the corner for Jones.
And that's back-to-back goals for Great Britain. Here's where they need to get the ball back or stop. Or get a stop.
Daniel Jones, who plays for Mellor Lacrosse Club, as part of that 2023 World Championship team, cuts it to 2. They get it back, an opportunity to get as close as they've been since the first quarter.
Puerto Rico tried the fake flip. Great Britain was wise to it. Quick save, and now they have a chance here.
Still the better part of 4 minutes remaining. Dodging hard to the left, shooting off side netting. Ryan Hoons. Parent goal.
I like the gender neutrality there, mom or dad goal.
We have learned over the years, my friend. Mistakes will not be made here in 2024. A little bit on that, but not through from Lacey. So Great Britain gets it back again with a chance to make it a 1-goal game.
Dobang just getting the boys going. Let's go there, trying to rally the troops here.
Love the fight from this Great Britain side. I know Phil Collier will be happy about that. That's deflected. Deflected. So it stays with Great Britain.
And like basketball, the shot clock still is down there. They won't get a fresh shot clock here, though. So they keep the ball, but they only have about 10 seconds here to get a shot on goal.
I know I said Phil Collier. That's, of course, the women's coach. I meant Tom Wenham. Oh, great kick save by Mark. But it does trigger a shot clock reset. Pomfret back at X. Couple of fakes. Trying to get in front. Feeds it low. And, oh, somehow it does. It does go over. I thought that was going to be stopped. Bickerton tried to get it to it before it would be over and back.
Two tired Puerto Rican defensemen. Those extended multiple possession defensive stops will take it out of you. We see 3 Puerto Rico defenders go to the box.
A long possession for them to come up empty, and that might be a dagger.
Puerto Rico goal
Just no one drops off, and Balcarcel ultimately decides, all right, I'll take it.
It was kind of like the step in, evaluate what you have. No one's coming. No one's coming. No, I guess I gotta shoot it here.
First of the day for Balcarcel. And another over and back thanks to the defensive effort of Daniel Mercado. And Puerto Rico, Great Britain threatened. And it's not over, but leading by 3 with just over a minute to play. Puerto Rico very much in the driver's seat.
Yeah, they're going to have to get a stop here and then score and go all out on the ride. This is where that press is going to have to come fast and furious if they're going to want to make things happen.
Yeah, got to go quick, as you mentioned, so they get it back. But a collision, as slowing that down was Christian Laureano.
Some physical play as we got a delayed penalty. We're going to get a yellow card. That's a major, which means a 1-minute penalty as opposed to a 30-second penalty. Under 2 minutes, the clock does stop. So that is one advantage to Great Britain right now, as the clock does stop for whistles such as this, the officials' time. But now it'll go right back on, as will the penalty.
53 seconds remaining.
30-second penalty.
Gotta go
Puerto
quick.
Rico's number 14, David Neal.
Inside, camped out at the doorstep, but not able to get it, Bunio. And ultimately picks it up, somehow gets it to fall. And I guess the clock did not stop. That's what the official noticed. You pointed out the clock does stop in these situations.
So there's Bunio going all the way tiptoe around the crease and then the dive. And here we have the press. So
third of the day for Bunio, cuts it to 16-14. Now can Great Britain get the ball back?
And they're saying too many men here. And I agree, Puerto Rico should still have the penalty. The penalty does not release with the goal scored, so I'm not sure why. And they are back to 4 now, but that should have been too many men there.
16-14, Great Britain gets it back. Still some time. Trying to pull off a miracle, but Will Mark has no interest in that.
And he's Puerto Rico, throw that up and ice the victory.
Puerto Rico holds on for a 16-14 win here in the first game of the USA Lacrosse experience. Wow, that ended up being a thriller. 16-14, Puerto Rico picks up the victory. Both these teams will be in action again later on today. Puerto Rico, coming up at 6 o'clock, will take on the U.S. in what might be the marquee game of the weekend, Mitch. And also coming up a little bit later on today, Great Britain will take on Colombia at 3:30. Your big takeaways from this first game of the day?
I think the biggest thing to me was spacing on offense. It felt like Great Britain was trying to play with that relentless pace they talked about, but at times they were getting in each other's way and just didn't have options because they were moving so much. I thought Puerto Rico did a nice job of answering the bell, coming up with some really timely defensive stops down the back end. And it's really going to come down to goaltending. We saw Will Mark making some crucial saves down the stretch. I thought Hal Jobang came in and made some big saves in that second half that allowed Great Britain to climb back into it. But overall, it was some fancy behind-the-back plays, some little plays between the lines, and then gritting it out on defense that allowed Puerto Rico to pull the edge and gain the 2-goal victory.
13 different goal scorers for Puerto Rico. What a balanced effort. 3 players with 2 goals each, Donovan Lacey, Christian Mercado, and Jared Fernandez. For Great Britain, 4 for Ben Page-Laycock, 3 each for Alex Russell and Lyndon Bunio, 2 for Daniel Jones, and 1 apiece for Drew Bickerton and Will Prescott. And the goalie play, as you pointed out, particularly of Will Mark, who was fabulous today. Very impressive. We will have a short break, and then when we come back in, these same 2 countries on the women's side, Puerto Rico and Great Britain, coming up at 10:15. That's next. You're watching the USA Lacrosse Experience.